Hello, everybody, and welcome to TOFFEE BLUECAST. We are back live now. We got the news today. We knew we was going to get it today, and we've had to come live for this news. Paul, what's the news? Drop it on me.
The news is that in their wisdom, the Independent Commission, who've been working with the Premier League, have decided to take another 2 points from us from what we already had. So it means that we've dropped down a couple of points and dropped down a place as well.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to hear people's reactions in the comments. I mean, we need you to get involved. This will pop up on Twitter, so if you're listening now on Twitter, we can see your comments if you comment on Twitter, so it just still comes over to our YouTube. If you do want to hit the link's there for you. If you want to hit the link and come over to YouTube, we'll see your comments. There'll be people in the comments that you can interact with as well. So it's quite good if you do come over to the YouTube, but you don't have to. You can comment on Twitter. And we want to hear what you've got to say, because me and Paul will go through. Paul's got a few documents and stuff like that. So we will go through it as good as we can and say what we think. But tonight is about what all the Everton fans think. So the more we can get in the comments, the better. I mean, I can see Emma's in the comments there. Evening, everyone. Eugene there as well. We have a lot of regulars, so it's good to come over in the comments if you want to. If you want to comment on Twitter, feel free to do it. So let's do this then, Paul. I know you've got a few bits.
Got a few bits. It's been, thankfully, there have been more professional people than I reading the 60-page document today, where there are hundreds and hundreds of points in a language many of us just don't understand. But thankfully, our friend Julia Bold, who we saw at the weekend at the Everton-Burnley game, she's been very busy today, and she's outlined a few things for people to have a read of and kind of get the layman's terms of basically what has happened and maybe what we're not so happy about, and maybe one or two reasons why it shouldn't have happened, and so on. So let me just try and get up.
I think it is something that you do need breaking down, and that's what we're going to look to do as a channel, try and break it down to you, because it can be really, really headbanging, this can, but we're going to try and break it down to be simple, to fit my brain. Here we go.
Without a doubt, really, without a doubt. I'm just going to get, if you just bear with me just for a second, I'll read out the statement that actually Everton have put out today, if I can find them. It's short and sweet, to be fair. It's nothing in massive detail. Let's get this up now.
You'll see the comments coming in. Emma, while you're looking for that, says
this came through
Still
on
fuming.
Twitter. Yeah, I'm going to read through anyway, but you can sort of whatever you can see on there. It just says January 2024, Everton were charged by the Premier League for breaching the permitted profit and sustainability thresholds for the assessment period. So this is the season 22-23. It just says in the statement that it was referred to the Premier League. It's announced that Everton will receive an immediate 2-point deduction. The club's position is that there's been no further sanction was appropriate. We didn't think anything else should have happened. We thought the 6 points that we eventually got instead of 10 was too much anyway. So we are going to appeal as well, by the sounds of it. Club's pleased to see that the Commission is giving credit to the majority of issues raised by the club. So basically, the Premier League wanted 5-point deduction. They wanted to take 5 points off us for this one. And the Independent Commission have then said, no, it's not 5, it's going to be 2. So there's been some understanding from the Independent Commission based on what we've said. This shouldn't happen because this, and this. Premier League have said, no, it should happen because of this, and this. And instead of the 5 being taken off us, we've got 2 instead. So some might say it could have been worse. Some people say it should be better. But that's basically where we are. one of the issues raised by the club was including the fact that we were getting punished twice. We were also the Premier League were also ignoring mitigating circumstances. For example, war in Ukraine, which I've seen lots of tweets from maybe other fans or people haven't sort of read up or understood why that was actually a massive factor for us, in the fact that we had USM and then the war started, then we haven't got USM. And that's obviously massive naming rights for the stadium and financial backing and everything else. So Premier League in their knowledge feel as though we should have been aware that having a Russian backer could have been a problem, and we should have foreseen perhaps that being an issue. As previously, there were problems in the Crimea and so on. This is what the Premier League have said. So they ignore the fact, though, that Chelsea have had a Russian oligarch for however long, and then were able to sell their club for however much. But they seem to have forgotten that. So it just says Everton remains committed to working with the league, doing the nice one or two nice comments, all relating to BSL, but it's extremely concerned by the inconsistency of different commissions, because obviously this is the second commission as well, in respect of the points deducted, point deductions applied. The club thanks the FAB and all the fans groups and everyone who's done everything that they could possibly do. And at the moment, no further comment at this time. But that is where the club's stance is at this moment. How do you feel about?
Well, it's really interesting to hear that the Premier League wanted to give us 5 points, and that, like you've just read, the independent commission jumped in and said, "No, you can't." The Premier League really do hate us, don't they? I mean, if it was down to them, it would have been 10 and 5, 15-point deduction, wouldn't it?
Actually, I mean, Julie says here, actually, this is one of the first things that Julie had mentioned, and thanks for Julie for doing this today. She didn't do it specifically for us, but I've sort of jumped on it, and I know that she works dead hard. So she's busy reading the 60 pages of the report just on this 2-point deduction. She says that the Premier League pushed for 5-point deduction after asking for -12 on the first breach. So they asked for 12, we got 10, then we appealed and got 6. So that could have been absolutely huge, because actually, as Julie mentions, -12 for the first one, -5 for the second one, this one that we've had today. So they overall wanted to take 17 points
Yeah, 17
off
points
us this season. And as she points out, going into administration is 9. So how the hell has 17 points come out of it? I saw a tweet today, which was someone mentioned, this is Premier League just working out how many points they should take off Everton. And it's that clip of Rod Stewart when he was doing the Scottish League Cup, and he's hammered and he's just going in like this and pulling out a number. And that's what it seems to be. There doesn't seem to be any kind of basic math in their decisions at all. They just pull out these random numbers and just expect people to lie down and just take it up the arse. It's just ridiculous.
Emma there commenting, the club needs to stop being happy with things and have... Yeah, I agree. We can't accept it. But the problem is, you can't beat these, can you, Paul? That is the problem. I've had people say to me, so what should you do then? Just roll over and let them do it?
Yeah.
And I don't think you should just roll over and let them do it. But I also know in my head, no matter what you do, you're not going to win with them. Like, you generally are not going to win. They are the Premier League, and they can do what they want. Like, you'd have to take it to the higher court. And I still don't think you'd win if you do that. I think we've done everything that we can do. Very lucky that we have done what we've done, because, like it says there, we would have had 17 points. Now, after the first appeal, they admitted that after us getting 10 points, well, they wanted to give us 12 there. After us getting 10 points, they actually admitted The most they can give after that was 8, which straight away you think to yourself, you don't know what you're doing here. You really don't know what you're doing. Like, how can you want to give us 12, give us 10, but then tell us that your new rules are the most that you could give out was 8 because we called out the administration being 9. So straight away you're thinking, you've done us dirty there, you've done us wrong, and you'd expect someone that's done that to you to treat you a bit better after because they'd feel stupid. But they don't want to treat us better after that, because I was thinking if they did want to treat us better, because we've been punished quite heavy on the first one, this one we get nothing. Now, it turns out this one they still wanted to give us 5 points. And if it wasn't for the independent commission, that we would have got 5 points, but we've got less. But if this was down to the Premier League, we'd be on 17 points and we'd be relegated this season. So as an Everton fan, you know that the Premier League wanted you relegated this season, in my opinion, because that's what 17 points would have done. So the Premier League have attacked us no matter what anyone says. If we didn't appeal and the Premier League got what they wanted, it's on paper there. They wanted us to get 17 points. Now, people would say, like Paul's just said, the Premier League are saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Nobody has got backup plans for a war to happen. Nobody. Like, you don't like
or
you
a
don't
pandemic.
say, right, we're gonna make sure that Uzunov, we're gonna make sure that in case Uzunov goes, because there's a war, because we know psychically that there's going to be a war, you don't say, oh, in case he goes, we're going to have someone coming in ready. I think for a war, it's a pretty good reason that Everton haven't created. We didn't make that war. So, yeah, there's loads of stuff to go into. There is. And it is. I don't want to go into it loads. We will cover it on this. But it's ridiculous. I just want to get over it. But I have also been looking at a few things today, Paul, because I'm not one that understands it. I listen to you, what you tell me, because you're cleverer than me on this. But some people are saying that even after this one, some stuff isn't done. Like, there still is some ongoing stuff where the Premier League still are looking into whether we are putting that amount of money into the stadium and stuff like that. So the Premier League are still not letting it go, which really frustrates me. I mean, they've given us all this, and they're looking on stopping and changing the rules at the end of next season, but they're still grabbing onto Everton and saying, we want to do you. Nottingham Forest and Everton. I mean, the Nottingham Forest fan messaged me earlier on, and he says, I feel sorry for you and I feel sorry for us because they're going to change the rules next season. He says it's just wrong. He said, I think you'll survive. I think we'll survive. But what's going on is disgusting. He put, yeah, I know people say that, but he's saying about Nottingham Forest. I know people say that, but it's because the Nottingham Forest limit was lower than everyone else's, 61 million, and everyone else's was 105. They took leniency based on the fact that most other clubs had a higher limit to break. Still, though, I've got no idea how they're coming up with these point deductions. It's ridiculous what they're doing to us. That's what's come from a Nottingham Forest fan to me. He's been on the show as well, so that's what he thinks as well. But it's crazy to think, like, it feels like they've been in the Premier League because they can't handle things. But whilst the Premier League are in charge of this, they're going to completely punish Everton and Nottingham Forest as much as they can whilst they're in charge, and then it's all going to change next season. So it just feels that I don't know, Paul. What do you think on it? Like,
well,
on what I've said,
it's a kind of there's a few sort of just government type tactics. You know, it's if we do a really harsh punishment, but they appeal, then it'll still be a punishment that we're happy with. You know, it's almost like a negotiation. They've gone in with 12, and then they got 10. We appealed and we got 6, but there's another 2, so actually it's 8. So it's actually 8 out of the 17 that they originally wanted, which they would probably be slightly happy with. You know, they would obviously want it more, but it's almost just making people feel as though they've won something. It's like when they take millions of pounds off funding for something, and then 6 months later give half of that funding back. Oh, brilliant! Thank you very much. it's just the same old tricks that government do, and agencies like the Premier League is exactly the same, unfortunately. Julia carries on. One of the other things that she said, and this was from the Independent Commission, said that many, if not most, of the criticisms that the club got by the Premier League are unwarranted, overstated, or both. So they recognised that actually what the Premier League was saying about Everton was over the top in most cases, and in the summary, 0.256. So it shows you how much they're trying to overload, so they actually get some things through. It's just
They're
it's
putting
over the top.
if it on what you're saying, it feels like they're putting themselves out to make sure they've got something on us.
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
really want to have something on us. It seems that they're going on a mission to make sure that they get something on Everton. Like they're in a battle. Like they want to prove a point. Do you know? Like you're in an argument and it don't stop. It literally feels like they're just not backing down and they've got it in for Everton here. It seems like they've got a grudge instead of actually just
well,
looking at things and evaluating the situation and doing it all properly, legit and fair. It generally feels like they've gone through stuff, Paul, looking to try and get something on Everton.
yeah. Well, it's they've done a blitz of bullets, if you like, instead of the true ones. Firing their shots, saying that we did this, that, and the other, and just doing it with the truth and everything else. They're firing loads, knowing that some actually will get through, and they'll get basically what they want. Well, certainly a
The comments
compromise of
that
what they want.
we are going to
Certainly
be
what
going
we
through this,
do.
but we do want to keep chucking your comments on the screen. So we are going to keep saying what we've got to say because we have got some bits to put on the screen. Paul's going to keep going through it, but we are going to keep
Yeah.
getting your comments on the screen because we don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
So Moshiri, AK, yeah, I really don't like Moshiri. I really don't. I think he's got a lot to answer for. I mean, a businessman making Everton this bad financially is ridiculous. The Elms says, I hate the FA. Then goes on to say, at least we are not. That is the problem sometimes, Paul. I think you find yourself saying, "Oh, well, it could be worse," but then you think to yourself, "Yeah, but why should we accept getting treated like this? Yeah, of course it could be worse. Of course it could, but why should we just accept getting treated like this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, like Tim mentions the FA. It's not the FA; it's the Premier League, but they all go the sort of hand in hand, aren't they? If there was if it was the actual Football Association, and for once they were doing the right kind of thing, then they would stand by the side of football, not by this agency Premier League, which is basically just all cash from anywhere around the world. They don't give a toss. They really don't. And like Emma says here, this is a good one. It needs a government regulator because they're just taking away the game from itself. They're taking away all the aspects of the game that have been built up, particularly since '92, and have just made it so expensive and everything else that they've got the power for it. And all these other places around the world, specific places around the world, they've got the power for it. They've got the money as well, which they're just throwing around and doing what the bloody hell they want. Whereas the FA started as being in charge of actual football, and now it's a non-entity, if anything, because the Premier League just holds all the cards. But she says, Masters prove he didn't have a clue what he was doing when he met with the MPs in January. Dinage even said so. Can we petition it? Well, so I did read someone say, all the fans should get a GoFundMe and fund a case against the Premier League separately.
I'm
I wish
torn on
all
this
the clubs would join together. To be honest, I wish all the clubs would join together and actually take them on.
I think that's what I was going to say, Paul. I think when Emma's just saying, "Can we petition this?" I personally think they don't deserve Everton's money. I mean, if we petition it, we have to get banners. We raise money to petition it, and I don't think I'm torn between two here because I think we have to do something. Like I don't want to let them get away with it. But then I think, like you say, you petition it and you do something. Everton fans have to put their money and their time into it. And I don't even want to give the Premier League that because I think they're pathetic. Do you know what I mean, Paul? I think
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know what to do. We've already done
well,
that kind of.
all fans can do pretty much is protest. That's all that we can do. The people who would push any petitions would be people who are leading the other 14 clubs, basically. So if we had a board and a chairman, our club would obviously push a petition. So would Forest, and you would hope the other ones would as well. So like Wolves are always complaining about bloody Premier League and everything else. You need all of those clubs to kind of stick together. But what they do is they manufacture it and get clubs going against each other, particularly social media and everything else, which then builds it up. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get Forest fans. They're trying to get us annoyed at Forest fans for only having a 4-point deduction when we had a 6. Now we've got another 2. They're trying to basically get other clubs to say, "Oh, why did they only get a 2? There should have been more." And so they just want us fighting between ourselves. Whereas in an ideal world, we would join together and then petition that and go against it. But again, like you say,
the Premier League,
just got
they know on what you're saying, Paul. You're right. This is going to what you're saying. Like the Premier League know that the clubs that they're doing over are the clubs at the bottom. So the clubs that they're doing over are like in competition to stay up. So they're not going to get on. So we're not going to kind of collide together to thingy because it's like I'm the same. Like I say, I speak to that Forest fan, and it could be us or him go down. We're playing soon. So how can you come together? They know, like you say, they know that we're not going to come together and going against us. And another big thing for me is that they're changing the rules at the end of the season. I mean, we've seen little bits come out. They're changing the rules at the end of the season. So that straight away, all these like fans now that are thinking, "Oh, we're going to complain," thinking, "Oh, we'll just wait now and see what they change the rules to see if it benefits our club." Because there's no point in just complaining. We might be better off with these new rules next season. So that's the problem. They've got themselves out of it. I think if they was going to stick with this, the Premier League, and do what they've done to Everton and Nottingham Forest this season, next season, and the season after, it was going to become the new thing. I think then you'd see everyone come together and kick up a big fuss. But the fact that it's come out now that they're going to change it, it's quietened a lot of people down. And that's why they've done that, isn't it? I mean, that's the reason they've done it. Because they knew that the fire was just starting to burn and a lot of clubs was starting to get very unhappy. And that's why they put it out there that the rules are going to be different. So you can't do that much now, can you, Paul, on that?
Just,
do you agree?
No, can't. I mean, I wish we could, but it's divide and conquer, in it, and that's what Premier League are trying to do. So,
just ridiculous.
Julie mentions in it. Yeah, Julie mentions in the next one that independent commission was also just noting that the FAB didn't have any. There was no fan-based organisation that had any stand-ins or any influence at all in any of the proceedings, mainly because fans from other clubs would have conflicting views as well. So that was just something that she threw in, and that was mentioned in the document. The appeal where it gets interesting. Well, even more interesting, because the appeal process, it gets logged in the next 7 days. There's a pre-hearing following an appeal board. So then the time frame for the conclusion of the appeal is Friday, 24th of May. So we wouldn't find out any result of that appeal until 24th of May. However, the season finishes on the Sunday before that, on the 19th. So I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we're safe by then, and it's almost irrelevant. It would just be if it was a case of we were still up and it didn't matter about the appeal being given or not, then it would just be a money factor about where we would finish in the league. because you obviously get more the higher you finish up the league. But in a bad case scenario, it could be that if it was decided on the last day of the season that we were either up or down by a point, for example, then we'd find out our fate at the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? So we would only find out the result of that appeal after the season's finished. Now imagine
that could still happen with Nottingham
it could
Forest. I
happen.
mean,
I hope it
Nottingham Forest
doesn't.
have
I hope
appealed
it
theirs
doesn't.
as well.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So these appeals that are actually going to take place, they're not going to find out till the end of the season. So there could well be a scenario where we or Forest or teams around us are waiting to see whether they're up or down based on an appeal procedure from the Premier League on points deductions.
So you could literally at the end of the season where they do that final day thing, you could have a team that's gone down and you've seen everything on TV that they've gone down, and later the Premier League come out and give them 2 points or 2 points back and then not go down, and it be a complete farce. That is just that's how bad the run.
Yeah, I'll give you another scenario there that could potentially happen. You have Forest and us, and then Luton above us, and then our appeal, the decision about the points is upheld, but Forest win their appeal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if we're both going like that, on the other side of it, Luton are going to be right there, not knowing whether they're up or down. There's so many scenarios that could happen now between now and the end of the season, and not just the end of the season, but the weeks after. It's just absolutely crazy.
Like you've just said, it can affect other teams as well. Luton could, like, if we was below this, we're just giving scenarios here. By the way, we think we're going to stay up, but if we was below Luton, and then we get points back, and Nottingham Forest get points back, and then Luton end up getting relegated, they'd be like, "What the heck?" They would be fuming with that. So they're going to be looking at this as well. Emma put on a good comment there as well. Keep your comments coming, people. Apparently, PSR was to stop clubs going into administration. All they are doing is pushing us closer and closer to it. Make it make sense. Cracking comment. I agree. That's why I keep saying chuck these comments on, because it's how I feel as well. Eugene's just commented there. I think the Premier League wants Everton to get relegated. I've just said that. It really does feel like it's a grudge against us. It doesn't feel like it's just them doing what they've got to do. It feels like them going out of the way to punish us. I mean, some would say, you would say that you're an Everton fan, but I wouldn't even be biased about this, Paul, because I'm really angry about the way our football club's being run. So if it was us, I'd be the first to say, you know what, it is, accept it. But when you actually do read the stuff, it's bullcrap on what we're getting done for. So it's hard to just accept it. Another comment there. Keep your comments coming in. This one's from Twitter. Masters has destroyed this season. Yep, he has. It's felt like a crap season. How can you finish the season with teams in limbo? I know I was really hoping that after this, Paul, because I tweeted straight away, I was like, finally, we know what we're dealing with. Thank God, right? We'll talk about what we think of it, whether we was happy with it, and we'll ask you in the comments. But I was just happy to finally just get what the punishment and know what we've got to deal with to stay up. But then when you still get people saying, it isn't finished, some stuff still continues. But I do think, Paul, looking at what they've said, it's into next season now. I think this might just be the most we can get for this season. Well, I'm hoping anyway that we've been given the worst case scenario, and it can only get better with appeals, and we've got to deal with this. Now, I also read the Baines from the Bullens, cracking guy. They do Bullens events and stuff like that. You'll all know him. Big Everton fan channel. He then goes and says today that I think we need to do another 25 million before pre-June. So we need to show 25 million of pure profit before June. So when you feel like, oh, can we just get all this stress gone and move on to less stress? And when you're getting told later on, you might have to offload 25 million pure profit, and that won't be easy because Onana, like, we owe loads of money to Lille because they've got 20%, and Onana we paid 35, which we haven't even paid off yet. So you won't make 25 million profit on Onana, and then and that's been put out there now, so every club will know that probably the only player we can make 25 million pure profit on is Gerald Branthwaite. Now, if we're that desperate that we have to make it, they're not going to offer a lot of money for Branthwaite now. So I know it's a complete separate subject, but I just want the stress to be gone. And when you still got your eyes on that sort of stuff, and I think in the future, Paul, we still could have a lot of stress. And I was hoping that this would be the end of the stress, and that our financial situations will be better after this, but I don't think it is. I really don't. So it's frustrating.
And like we said on the drive home, didn't we? We said, say we sold Onana, even Pickford and Branthwaite, how much of that money would actually go on replacements or, a squad? Because you got some loanees as well who there's a good chance they won't stay.
The same.
Some people out of contract and things like that. They may well move on. It's about how much squad we're actually going to have, and I don't think all that money that we get for the 3 players, if they were sold, a lot of it would go on the actual team.
Very scary times.
It is scary times,
especially when your stadium's not even been done yet, and you're borrowing money for your stadium. I just think what we're dealing with now, what we're putting on the screen of your club not being able to turn over enough money on this and being done. I think that's stressful enough, but then you've not got an owner yet. You're borrowing money, 200 million. And you're also told that you've got to sell players and stuff like that to meet the financial requirements. So,
yeah. Well, those financial requirements, a lot of it is because of the ongoing argument between the Premier League and Everton about what counts as PSR, or what level, what's included and what's not included. So, for example, Julia mentions. On certain costs, the club say are associated with the stadium construction. Premier League want the stadium count as a loss, right? Everton say that it's audited in the stadium accounts and it's not a loss. Basically, what it comes down to. And she'll also mention as well. So I'll show you next one, because the figure's about 6.5 for stadium interest payments. Now, the Premier League, you get money taken off based on how much that interest payment is in your PSR, is the basic understanding. And the Premier League was saying that this amount and this amount were not included. You can't have that off the amount that you've got altogether. And Everton are saying, well, no, we can, because it's this for this reason and this for this reason. And so this is our amount, where they're saying there. And Premier League say, oh, no, it's not. They still count. So actually, the amount that you've spent is still up there. One of the really annoying things is the fact that, and you can mention it, you see it here as well, Spurs loan payments for capital projects such as their new stadium are not factored in the Premier League's PSR. So you've got Spurs who have had their stadium for a few years now, not included in the PSR, and these rules were still in when they got their stadium, but suddenly ours is. So you kind of, there's obviously going to be some details that Premier League are going to go pull out and say why, but there's a lot of similarities there. So why one rule for one and one rule for another is how it comes across.
No, I did see that as well on the Spurs thing, because Spurs had like a big financial thing that they've seen start to get worried, and then all of a sudden it comes out that it's not going to be on there. It's not going to be on it for them, and it is for us. So I don't get it all. I really don't get it all. And the worst thing is, I understand me not getting it all, because I'm not the brightest spark on this stuff. That's why I read a lot of the comments and I listen to you, Paul. But I don't think anyone gets it all. I've seen people that are really clever on these sort of subjects, and they don't get it all. I've seen in the comments they're going to talk about it on Talk Sport tomorrow. I don't think they even get it. Don't think you can. think
I
the big
think
problem
that's
is, to
why.
put it simple, Paul, you can't get something where they're not doing things properly. There's no
No, and
structure. There's no rules. No nothing. No black and white print of what you can do. Like, do you know where referees have rules? I mean, don't talk about referees, but you know where referees have rules. You can just read the rules, and you know whether it's right or wrong. You can just read the rules, and then you can tell whether something's right or wrong by the rules. When you look at our stuff, there's no rules. We don't know what we're being put up against. They just
that was
tell us
the
you get this
argument
for that, and that's it.
Yeah, that was the argument in the first breach, for example. One of the arguments we had was, well, you didn't say what was going to happen if a club breached the rules. No, but that doesn't matter. We're still going to ask for 12 points. All right, we're not going to do 12. We're going to take 10 off you. And then we appeal and so on and so on. But the fact that they haven't actually, there was no quantitative statements when these rules came in about what the cost in points deductions would be. They completely made it up and just pulled out numbers out of the air. And if administration's 9 points, that's surely that going into administration is surely worse. So how did they get 12, 10 and so on? Basically what they wanted to do is that they wanted to use clubs like us and Forest and Leicester as well, because they're on a charge, which might well come into next season, presuming they come up. And they're just using those clubs, our club, to scare the other clubs so they don't do anything. But at the same time, talk about luxury tax and everything else instead of points deductions, being that the teams that are at the top, it's not going to affect them whatsoever. So you just can't see anything. I mean, when you look at the amount that's been spent and everything else, and I know it goes on how much your club earns and but still, it's meant to be. It's not an equal playing field at all, and it hasn't been for a while. I do know that, but to say that the league is going to continue to be competitive for who? You know, this season's been a right wake-up call in that kind of respect. Really has.
The comments are coming in. There's one on the screen there, Paul. If you want to drop that one, read that one. Kevin Clare's putting a lot of stuff on the screen. We like it as well. We want to know what you think. Keep your comments coming in, people. If this channel's new to you, we go live before and after games, and we do cover some of the latest news. Like, might as well say lose, because it feels like we're losing against the Premier League on this battle. News. We do cover stuff, but hit that like and subscribe if you want to. It's right. It's not the stuff that they're saying ain't wrong, is it, Paul?
No, and deciding it absolutely winds me up in the fact that 21-22 season, you know, why the points deductions coming out 2 years later? You know, 22-23 season, why is it now coming out at this point? Like Kev said on here as well, deductions should only be issued at the start of the season, not during. Certainly not in the last bloody 9 games of the season. How can you do that? That is shocking. And like he says, how do Everton and other teams know what they're playing for? You cannot do points deductions in the middle of a season. It just can't. It cannot be right. It can't be right. And God knows what they'll do with City, but nothing.
If they are going to be strict, I understand that, but they've got to have good rules in place if they're going to be strict. And I think the rules have to be where you have to have everything in by a certain time, and then they review it, and then by the time the season starts, the deduction would have been added. Now, I understand it'll take them a season to do that, but at least add it at the start of another season. Do you know what I mean, Paul? Just at the start of another season. So, say if last season we was bad, add it at the start of this one, at the start of a season. So you know exactly, you've got to have something in place where they don't do nothing to you during the season. You can't touch, and I actually didn't think they could until this season. I'm learning a lot with Everton. I think it's wrong you can touch the Premier League table. Like, when a team's in competition, once that competition starts, you shouldn't be able to play around with the points, because the league feels fake for me then. That's just the way I feel. I think it feels fake because you watch the table all season. You never see that table change unless a team wins, loses, or draws. And I think when the Premier League, because I was shocked when we got that first deduction, I was like, whoa, they changed the league. They changed the league table. I was shocked. I was like, I didn't think someone could touch the league table like they did.
Yeah,
So
Emma's spot on.
yeah,
Emma's spot on there as well. He said in that review of those 10 points, he said to MPs about the FFP rules that they've been in place for 10 years, but this is the first time that they've been enforced. And the Man City thing, and I'll keep going to Man City, but the number of charges that they've got, are the Premier League saying that all of those charges have happened in one season? Because if they're not, we've had problems from 21-22, 22-23. When are they saying these charges are from? Because even if it's 116 spread over many years, surely the punishment for the first set in that first season, whenever they started doing it, that should have been dealt with by now. So should like the season after that and the season after that. How long are they saying that even if they were doing it every season for the last 10 seasons, that first season, surely that punishment, that review, that appeal would have been done certainly before a decade later. It just doesn't make any sense.
You can tell that they've not done nothing. They've let teams off season after season, never really reviewed Chelsea, Man City, or anyone. They've not looked into stuff. And then all of a sudden, because the Premier League, no eyes are on them, this season they've decided, right, we're going to actually have to do something this season and look into stuff. And then when they have looked into stuff, they've realised that they haven't done the job for a very long time. For me, that's what's happened. And then they thought, oh my God, we've got to punish Everton now, Forest now for this season. But when they actually look, they've been asleep for all the seasons before that, and they realise they've got to punish them. And we said it, they've opened up a can of worms. They're in big trouble. Because with the standard that they set on Everton and Nottingham Forest, if they stuck to this now, the Premier League would be finished. Because no teams would be able to sign players. We'd lose all the good players in the Premier League. And the Premier League would be so crap. Because the rules that they've got is just rubbish. And David Davis says they're making it up as they go along. I generally do think, that, with the Everton stuff, they're saying, oh, I'm not happy with you doing that. I'm not happy with you doing that. I'm not happy with you doing that. And then they haven't got no sheet to say what you get for doing that. All they do is they just get all the stuff together and think, right, oh, I wonder what you should get for all this. Do you think that's what they do? Just literally in a group, do you think you should get 5 for this, 6? They've got nothing to go by why or what points you get for doing that. They just look at all of the stuff they've put against Everton, which they've forced a lot of things, and just say, let's figure out what we think we should give up. And it's just a joke. Like, they need to get run properly, and they're going to get called out. They are going to get called out, but it's just a shame that things are going to change probably next season and the season after, and we're just getting massively punished. And they're not even putting the brakes on either, Paul. They're not putting the brakes on with it. So
it won't stop. If anything, they'll get more clubs involved. More clubs involved.
He is a Liverpool fan. The Premier League are Liverpool fans by the look on the actual Twitter account. I am pretty sure that the Premier League support Liverpool because they just love tweeting about Liverpool. And they don't tweet about Everton because they know we call them out and stuff. So, so on this pod, I take it you put a lot of the stuff you want to put on the screen. I mean, it's long stuff. We've tried to keep it nice and short. There's nothing else you've got to put on that, is there?
No. That was the general gist. To be fair, I think Julius summed it up. Summed it up better than anyone else. The other thing about it kind of running on was about the interest payments that I mentioned before. But it basically all comes down to what the Premier League believe should be included and what Everton believe what shouldn't be included for mitigated circumstances or otherwise. And it looks as though that's just going to rumble on, to be honest. I just think it's
everybody is going to be looking at the comment there, everybody's going to be looking at what the rules are next season. You will get some people, like I know the Newcastle fan, John, he was really worried about this FFP stuff. But then they say they're going to change the rules. And I bet John's thinking now, Newcastle have got a lot of money. If they do change the rules, I'm not going to moan too much now. That's probably what he's thinking. I'm not going to moan too much now because if they change the rules where you can spend more, Newcastle have gone from being in a bad situation from the looks of what they're doing to us with this FFP to knowing at the end of next season they're going to change it anyway. And that's what we've said. That's the problem. A lot of clubs would come together and go against the Premier League now. But now, because the Premier League have put hints that they're going to change the rules, a lot of clubs probably are thinking, oh, Everton and Nottingham Forest have got it, but the rules are going to suit us next season, so we'll just leave them to get it, and we'll just keep quiet, and we'll be okay next season with what the rules are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Eugene's got a point in terms of the Super League. Is one to sort of stew over is the fact that since the Super League didn't work out because there was backlash from fans, do you think people in charge of leagues, certainly around Europe, thought we've got to have the Super League because that's where the money's going to be? And so do we do things over the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons that actually disrupt the league, make it look as though, it is weighted towards the top clubs? Because I tell you what, if you asked any of the other 14 clubs if they would like the top 6 to go off into a Super League, I'd imagine most of the fans would say, yeah, let them bugger off so we can have our league back again. It'd be hard to say, yes, we want to keep Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, when they've got the backing of various countries. I do wonder whether there's a scheme somewhere to sort of say, because it's not just Premier League, which has had lots of accusations this year. Turkish is absolutely rife with all sorts going on over there. Italian league has always been sort of accused of corruption and everything else. Teams have actually got relegated for it. People have got jailed for it. So you do wonder whether that is on the horizon at some point. And if they did it, less people would be bothered about it, really.
It is frustrating for me because you don't need to change football. Football it has been for years and years amazing the way it is. I don't think you need to change it. I think the Premier League's always decent, and I think it's just the players changing it, and that's what makes it different every season. I don't think you need to change the Premier League. I think,
no, I don't think so either. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, I know exactly what you're saying, and you're right in what you're saying. That's what they are looking to do, is push towards the Super League. But I'm just what I'm saying to you is, like, the Premier League is okay, and it feels like they want to mess about with it. And it feels like they're starting to think it's boring. Let's do a Super League or something like that. Or these top 6 teams want to do something different. But there's nothing wrong with it. There is generally nothing. The only thing that's wrong with the Premier League isn't that it's boring. It's just that the Premier League isn't being run properly. And it feels like they've completely tried to play around with it. They are going to destroy it, though, if they keep doing what they're doing, because, like I said to you earlier on, the reason they've changed these rules quick now is because all of the top players would have gone to other teams, because they was making it so all the football clubs couldn't spend much. You look at the last transfer window, Paul, it was one of the worst transfer windows ever, wasn't it? Nobody spent money. Nobody. Everyone was scared because Everton got a 10-point deduction. So even your Chelseas, your Liverpools, your Man U's and your Man Cities were scared to spend money because they thought, oh my God, we could be in big trouble if we do, because the Premier League are looking at us.
Deadline day was hilarious.
Exactly. So now we didn't do a transfer window live thing, the last one, because we knew that it was going to be boring. Now, if every transfer window is boring and not many players are coming to the Premier League and a lot want to leave the Premier League's business goes whoop, finished. It really does. They can mess everything up for themselves. That's why they will change the rules, and it's just unfair that we've been on the end of them trying to do rules that only apply for one season and getting this much point deduction. It's just ridiculous. Right, so what we're going to do now, we are coming to an end. We'll finish it on the hour. We've come live for this tonight, and it's been really interesting on the comments. People have been putting them up, and it's amazing. That's what we want. Toffee BLUECAST is just all of us speaking as Everton fans what we think. We'll just put it briefly. Are you happy, Paul? 2 points? I mean, we've spoke loads about this, that, and the other. Like, I think now we should finish it by saying whether we're happy with the 2 points that we've just got. I know, of course, we shouldn't be happy, but I'm saying I thought it was going to be 5. I said to Paul 5. So, you in the comments now, tell us, with the 2 points, will you take it? You're angry? Did you think it was going to be more? Is it less than you thought? Paul's going to tell me, and then we'll finish it by probably looking at the league table if we've got it and seeing how it affects us. So, yeah, Paul, what do you think? I know you won't be happy with you, Paul.
No, I'm bloody annoyed. Bloody annoyed. I think the whole thing is corrupt and it stinks, and I think it's got absolute holes in the Premier League's argument about points and reasons for and everything else. So I think the whole thing is an absolute joke, to be honest. If you were saying we're definitely going to get another points deduction, then 2 is better than 5, is better than the 17 that they wanted originally over the two breaches. Breaches, by the way, that we've not denied and lied and said that we've not done this, that, and the other. We've worked with the Premier League for the last 2-3 seasons, and yet still we get shafted. So there's absolutely no need for it, and I hope we come back with the appeal and it just gets wiped off. And to be honest, I'd be happy if Forests get wiped off as well, and the Premier League gets seen for what they actually are. And there's some people who just get booted out on the rear. They could be the fall guys for me. Masters can be a fall guy. They can get rid of him, blame him for all of the points deductions, and start again properly with actual rules that all the teams have agreed with punishments that the teams have agreed with, and then go from there. That's me.
That would be amazing if that happened. That literally is what needs to happen. Master get chucked on his arse, all be put on him, because it probably is him behind everything. All be put on him, and people put in place that can do stuff properly. And us get our points back. Forest get the points back, and us get our points back. Don't think that's going to happen, me personally, but that would be an amazing outcome. So, Paul, you're saying you're not happy with the 2 points. Well, just before I say my verdict, how many points did you think it was going to be on this punishment?
Well, when they turned around and started talking about we're not going to take points off in the future, it's going to be a luxury tax or whatever, I thought they actually might regate on it and sort of pass over on any more points deductions, but they didn't do that. So I was hoping that would be a load of bollocks. But if you're then going to think it could have been worse, which is what they want you to think, then 2 is not bad, I suppose. As someone said earlier, doors, at least we're not in the relegation zone.
Yeah, I did see that comment as well, and there are comments coming in. Keep your comments coming in. We're at the minute we're wanting to know how you feel on the 2 points, and we wanted to know how you feel. We'll finish it by looking at the league table and how do you feel that we're going to deal with this 2 point deduction. But I'll say mine now. There's a comment there that we need to. Big Dominic said that will go on to that at the end on how we'll deal with it. But I thought they'd give us 5 points, and I don't know why I said that to you when we went to last game.
Yeah.
But by the way, we went to the game. We broke the losing streak. It wasn't the best football match, but we got the result. It was never going to be the best football match, but we got the result.
So
and it feels like after getting a 2 point deduction, even more of a result. I know it only makes a result a draw, if you want to look at it like that, because we just got 2 points taken off us. But imagine if we didn't get a result that game. Bloody hell. So, yeah, I thought it could be 5. I don't know why. I didn't expect 2. I know the Premier League have got it in for us, Paul, and I know they're going to punish us as much as they can. It doesn't surprise me that the number that they wanted to give us was 5, which I thought we was going to get. So I'm kind of happy that we got less, that we've got something. For me, I think it's disgusting what they're doing. It needs calling out. But I just want something that I can deal with to stay up, because that's all I want to do is stay in the league. And I think 2 points is something that we can deal with and still stay up. Do I think they should get called out and we should take it further and it's wrong? Yes. But all I care about is staying up. I just don't want them to take us down. I want to beat the Premier League this season, and I think if that's the most they can do to us this season is give us 6 points, we'll beat them. That's the way I feel. But look, maybe they have on what you just said, Paul. Like you just said, maybe they are putting that they wanted to give us 5, but they gave us 2 to make it sound better. Do you know what I mean? Like the Premier League wants to give you 5, but we gave you 2, and then a lot of Everton fans will think, "Oh bloody hell, we could have got 5. Thanks, Commission, for getting us 2." They're always going to make it sound better than what it is, isn't it? They're not going to say, "Oh, the Premier League wanted to give you 2, and we gave you 2." Not going to do it like that. They want to make it sound like we've got a good end of the deal here. Yes, I know the Blues, and we don't even want to come live for it because
the Blues over the edge.
I struggle to spell my name, Blues. Never mind even go into this political crap. That's why I just get Paul read it all out. But we have to cover it as a channel. Yeah. Like I say, I'm get the league table up now. I think we'll look at the league table. We'll move on from that. The Blues.
Let's have a little.
I don't know what I don't even.
Let's have a little look.
Think about next season yet. Don't think we can think about next season until it comes. Let's just stay up first.
So
yeah, it probably does depend on that. But let's just think about that when it happens. Let's just stay up.
So there we are at the moment. Actually, I'm just going to move that a little bit wider because you might just go a bit bigger like this. It might help. Because I was wondering about Crystal Palace, to be honest. I mean, Fulham-wise, they're on 39. They're 9 points above Palace. But Palace have got some tricky games coming up, you know. They've only got 7 games left. You've got Luton and Forest both on 25. Us now on 27. So, you know, Palace have got to get at least one more win in there, I would have thought. I did think 35 was going to be enough. But with Luton winning and our points kind of being taken off as well, I'm not sure 35 is going to be enough now. Not sure.
We have got a game in hand there as well. I mean, I know you've got to win the game in hand. Game in hand means nothing, but it's quite nice to see a game in hand there. We got some cracking fixtures coming up. I mean, we played, don't want to be negative, but we played Burnley last game. Really wasn't that convincing on that we was going to win games. So you can't just say, "Oh, we'll win this, that, and the other." It's still a roller coaster. We're not safe. We've got to stay up. We have got to earn the right to stay up here. And the fact we're Luton are on 25, so we're 2 points off that. Not safe, are we?
Yeah.
Not safe.
I mean, well, fixtures wise, we're the last game of the weekend. Play Chelsea on the Monday Night Football. Yay! So expect a lovely Sky Sports Monday Night Football for Chelsea's game with us.
We'll do the pre-match on that though, Paul. But I am seeing a lot of Everton fans quite excited about that, saying it's a good free hit and stuff like that. I don't know if it's because they've got Chelsea in their head. Well, if they're positive. But maybe they've got that Chelsea game in their head last season where Pickford made those wonder saves. That was a big game, wasn't it?
Yeah, Branthwaite header.
It's a free hit.
Header as well. You know?
So Chelsea are a really weird. Chelsea are a really weird team because they keep doing shit. Like they keep doing really bad this season. Chelsea do. But then you look at the team and you think, oh, they've got Palmer, they've got such and such, they've got such and such, and they have got good players, but they just don't perform. But you know for a fact it won't be an easy game for Everton. Chelsea won't.
No,
3 wins will do.
Chelsea are inconsistent, and we're 1 in 14. You know. We're not doing great by any means, but you do kind of hope that we're strong enough. I mean, and then you look at Sheffield United. We're
strong enough.
So, but looking at fixtures and stuff at the weekend, we're last. City have got Luton City at home against Luton, Forest at home against Wolves, Palace away against Liverpool. Brentford home against Sheffield United. It'd be interesting to see what kind of happens and where we are come Monday night, and what that actually means for us. So it could get a little bit worse before it gets better, potentially.
Liverpool. We'll be up. Don't worry. Don't
But
worry.
then,
I've just seen the Blues say, Paul, there. The game in hand that we've got that we didn't play Liverpool.
yeah,
We might not win that. And I just see someone say, please be Liverpool. Don't worry. Got it in the bag. I'm seeing that game in hand as 3 points in the bag for Everton. So don't worry about that. We've got it. The Blues will be like, what's he going on about?
well, I'll tell you what, the weekend after, so on the 20th of April, Luton have got Brentford at home. We've got Forest at home. I mean, Christ almighty. Sheffield United have got Burnley. So the bottom 6 are all playing each other. Palace are at home to West Ham. We're in for a wild ride, I think. It's going to be
wild.
Really
Life is
stressful.
a roller coaster. You just got to ride it.
So.
And I think, Ronan Keating says it's a roller coaster. And you just got to ride it. What's scary is I've never seen fixtures look so easy to stay up, and I don't want to curse it, but honestly, we should stay up so easily. But when I went and watched us last game, I wasn't that convinced. I think personally, and no disrespect to Burnley, because the lad that come on from the Burnley fan was one of the nicest guys I know, and I'll keep in touch with him. But no disrespect. That Burnley team for me was probably the worst team I've watched this season in the Premier League. And I don't mean that in any disrespect. Just none of the players was outstanding. They really wasn't that good. And we couldn't beat them without them giving us a goal. So I can't, although I look at the games and I say, Forest will be a hard one, by the way. Brentford, Sheffield United. We've got really good fixtures, but we just don't know what Everton we're going to get. It's a big job to do, Paul, isn't it? The games look nice, but are they nice?
No, well, I looked before the Burnley game, which we won, by the way. I looked at the fixtures that we've got and thought, like you just said, Sheffield United, Brentford, Forest, Luton away. They're games, We should have enough in the locker.
But they're all better than Burnley in your head, and we struggled with them.
Well, then we watched the performance against Burnley, and Luton end up winning their game as well, coming back and winning their game. And when I looked at them fixtures again, I was kind of like, I don't know if I fancy these. I'd rather have someone mid-table who didn't give a top.
It's just going to be... It's just going to be... The thing is, it's not like we're playing well now and we're confident. It's going to be a grind it out. And unfortunately, you don't know what we're going to get. And the lad up top says, the lad in the comments saying, Big Dom. Big Dom, come on, keep us up. I'm game for that. I am game for someone being a player that says, right, I'm going to have a little good patch where I'm going to smash it for Everton and we're up. That's all it takes. Is me and Paul went and watched his last game and no one looked that good. Sorry, but they didn't. I'm hoping that we went to that game and it was a shit game and the next games are better and some players turn up and are a lot better. Let's read this comment. It's got my name in it, so might as well. Shh, Dan, don't say shit like that out loud. I know. I'm Mr. Positive as well, but I think when you go and watch them in real life, you realise that they struggle a lot more than what it looks like they are on TV. But maybe me and Paul just got the bad game. But me and Paul did our jobs. We hadn't won in 13 games. So me and Paul said, right, this is the game for us. We pointed it out before the international break. And we went to that game to break the curse. We went to the Bournemouth game to keep us up. We went to this game to break the 13-game curse. Hopefully, now we broke the curse. The only way is up. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, we did say the tap is open for Calvert-Lewin. And it really is open for him to get a goal like that. So there's a lot of positives, baby. Get real, please, lads. It's a scandal and we're laughing stock of this league. We have said this already. If you're catching it late on and you think we've been laughing about it, trust me, Brian, we haven't. We're fuming with it. Yeah. Paul's really angry about it. We're now talking about trying to stay up, and the laugh is about how bad we are trying to stay up. So don't worry about that. We're not laughing about what's happened, and we know and discussed it in this Premier League.
If you didn't laugh,
we've kind of moved
you'd
on
cry.
from it, Brian. Yep, Brian, we've moved on from it because it's pathetic, it's boring, it's scandalous, and you can't do nothing about it. So we're as angry as you with it, but don't think the laughs are about that because they ain't. The laughs are about Everton trying to be good to stay up. Right, we will make it ugly against Chelsea. It might suit us, Chelsea. It might suit us. But I'm just thinking when the way Burnley got through, if it was any other players, we would have got destroyed last game. We really would have. But Bradthwaite's amazing, so don't worry about it. The Blues have said there. I've said this for ages. Even our attackers are better at defending than they are attacking. I know the Blues. Trust me. When I've got an Everton fan at the side of me just calling Ashley Young granddad all game and McNeil Spaceman, do you know what I mean? That I know. I see it. Trust me. I was thinking about putting Patterson on in 10 minutes after I seen Ashley Young run. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. It really isn't an easy job. But at the end of the day, I still think we can stay up. Because you also do think to yourself, Paul, like, I also thought this to myself, with how bad they was at that Burnley game, like, without this deduction, we'd be nowhere near getting relegated. So how is a team that bad? How are they this safe this season? Because if we didn't get a deduction, where would we be sitting now? Where would we sit now in the league if we didn't get a deduction?
So how many points have we lost altogether?
6.
No, we've lost 8 altogether, haven't we?
No, yeah.
We've lost 8 altogether. So
should be 6.
8 points would take us to 35. We'd be on 35 points now with 7 games to go. And we're kind of looking around 35 at being the number that would keep you up. We had 35 last season, that kept us up.
So Daesh could have. So to Daesh, we're saying how poor that team was. Daesh has got that team to be on 35 points this season. And when you think of it like that, he probably has got them. We've probably done well with them. Because from what we saw last game, the fact that we should be sitting on 35 points nowhere near relegation is probably a good accomplishment from Daesh because he's got no fast players on the wings. He's got no creativity massively in the middle of the park.
Oh, there's no pace, is there? It's worse in real life.
Yeah, there's no pace. So the fact Daesh has got us on 35 points this season if we didn't get the deduction, probably all he can do. Right. How many shocking ref decisions cost us too? Yeah, we did see that as well. I did say to Paul that we should have got a penalty.
Also as well, outside we've conceded 42 goals this season. It's only Arsenal, Liverpool and City who've conceded less.
Oh, don't you worry about that, mate. Don't you worry about that because next season Bradthwaite will be gone and we'll have Michael Keane there. So we'll soon get rid of that record, mate. Don't you worry about that. The only reason that our defence is so good is because Bradthwaite is one of the best prospects in the world at the minute. But I tell you something. I've seen someone, Bradthwaite, I don't know if it's true, Bradthwaite said that he's focused on Everton this season and then he'll think about other stuff next season, which was a massive to me saying Bradthwaite's going. And I just wanted to cry. I'm not even joking because Bradthwaite was sensational, Burnley. He really was. He is amazing. Like,
he is the business.
When you see him in real life, he is the business. Like, do you know when they attack and you shit your pants? He's literally just steams past, knocks it out. Easy, lads, I've got it. Don't worry, Bradthwaite's here. I'm gonna cry when Bradthwaite goes. I tell you, he's just. It took us about. When would you say our last good centre back was? Forget about Tarkowski. When's our last good centre back in the comments as well?
Tarks. Oh God. Well, you must have had. Well, I mean, we had a decent. Well, Jags.
Yeah, Jags. So after all the, and by the way, Jags got mistreated as well. We've seen on the podcast. Yeah, Jags didn't even get. He didn't even get leaving from the Everton fans and stuff like that. So they treated Jagielka really bad. But we brought all those centre backs in since Jagielka, and it's took now to get Bradthwaite for us to get a good one. So us letting Bradthwaite go just absolutely scares me, Paul. It really does because
I know.
You think to yourself, Michael Keane will probably come back in if we've got Sean Dyche, or we'll sign a new centre back. But signing good centre backs is not easy. That's the reason everyone wants Branthwaite.
Isn't Holgate on loan?
Yeah, Holgate is on loan as well, and he won't. Holgate will do a Tojan as well. He'll no. Do you know where he sat on his contract? Because Holgate's on a really good wage. He's not going to be in no rush to leave, is he? It's going to be really hard to get rid of Holgate now because we give him 70 million, and no one's going to give him that wage.
Ruthless is on the same page as me, I think.
Toffee Bluecast is a positive channel. Unfortunately, talking about Everton's frigging next season, you can't be that. Let's just focus on staying up.
Yeah.
Let's focus on staying up.
Well, I'm just before we go. Then I'm actually seeing one of our best centre backs tomorrow night because I'm going to Everton Legends night, and they've got Reedy, Peter Reed's there, Kevin Ratcliffe's there, and Kevin Sheedy's there as well. So the main man and a decent spine in midfield and centre back with Kevin Ratcliffe and Peter Reed, and probably the best left footer along with Baines that we've ever had at the club, I think. Unless someone tells me Dixie Dean is left footed.
Paul will have him on Toffee Bluecast and he'll get them on Toffee Bluecast, and then I'll convince them when they come on Toffee Bluecast to get the boots back on because we need them on the pitch after last game's performance.
Free kicks would be good, wouldn't it? Bloody hell.
Yeah, I'll take Reed.
Take any free kicks.
Take him now still. Oh, Sheedy, definitely get him on the free kicks, like you say. It would be sorted. Right. The free kicks was awful last game as well. No, but in all fairness, we're ending this now. But what I will say is 2 points is very we can deal with that. We can stay up. It's 2 points now. So we knuckle down. We just looked at the league table, as someone said earlier on. We're not in the bottom. It is corruption. It's disgusting. We shouldn't have even got any points. But the Premier League, with the way they've got it in for Everton, I thought it was going to hit us with more, make it a lot harder for us. I think we can beat the Premier League this season. And if we stay up, it's clear they wanted us down. We beat the Premier League. That's all we need to do is this season is beat the Premier League and stay in the Premier League. And then next season, we'll talk about all the stuff, whatever cracks on next season. So much to talk about. We only come on for half an hour tonight, and it's been 1 hour and 13 minutes. It says there's 442 people listening, including Twitter, which is a really good listen for nearly 11 o'clock at night. That's the numbers that we get. I know it doesn't say it on YouTube, but it tells us everyone that's watching. It says 445. A lot of you do watch and don't come over to YouTube. If you can go over and hit that like and subscribe, it's appreciated. If you don't want to and you can't be arsed and you just listen to the channel without subscribing, fair enough, completely understand. But I still have to push the subscribers because we want more people listening in the comments. Luckily, we've had loads of people in the comments tonight, and that's what makes it a good show. So we'll keep pushing that. Paul, last words. We've faced the music tonight. 2 points. Judgment Day is over. And
enjoy your week, everybody. Chelsea a week today. So you got a week off.
Yeah, but if I always, do you know what? I like us against the harder teams. I do, because I feel we play better against the bigger teams. And if we did, I'm looking at the weaker games and thinking we've got to win them. But if we did get a result against Chelsea,
massive,
it takes away takes a lot of pressure off those weaker games, doesn't it? It's like it makes you closer before you puts you ahead of the race. That's the best way to put it. It puts you ahead of the race, doesn't it? Because I said to myself before the Burnley game, we've got to win 4 to stay up. Still think that with the 2 points, by the way. I said you've got to win 4 to stay up. So we beat Burnley. I don't know how, but we did. Bit of help from the red card. So we beat Burnley. We've only got to win 3 probably to stay up. If we did manage to beat Chelsea, we've got some good games to only win 2 games. And I think we could win a lot more than 2, by the way. So we've got to stay positive. You never know what the future holds. So I know we say, it looks like there's going to be a lot of bad things next season. We've still got Branthwaite at the minute. We've still got Onana. No transfers, no players have gone yet. So let's just be positive until negative happens and try and see what happens in the future first. So up the top is everyone. Stay with us. Have a boss night. And Masters is if we had Jamie on, we was going to get Jamie on, but he's got so much to say about Masters.
Yeah, it would have been blue.
To any of this, because it would have been like effing and blinding. And that's why I love Jamie, because we all feel the same about Masters as well. But yeah, Have a boss one, everyone. Just going to drop the banner now with the toffees on and stuff like that. We broke that curse, Paul. We broke the curse. The tap's open for Calvert-Lewin. The tap's opening for winning. Can't go wrong, can you? We're on it now. Tap is open, baby. Get that tap. And I cut my finger as well on the tap, actually. There we go. Up the toffees, everyone. Have a boss.
See you, everyone.